Gliding above the firmament provides unparalleled euphoria. The terrestrial world appears minuscule from this celestial height. Today, the zephyrs are truly propitious to my flight.
No entity dares surpass my sublime altitude. My pinions cleave the atmosphere with formidable resonance. This is the quintessence of absolute, unbridled liberty.
The sun bestows a resplendent luster upon my plumage. I shall traverse the vast expanse beyond the mountain range. This tranquility is a sacrosanct reprieve from the world.
My perceptive vision discerns every prey with clinical precision. No obscurity can impede my predatory gaze. I shall descend with regal majesty and grace.
The frigid air invigorates my keen and soaring spirit. Passing through nebulae evokes a sense of transcendent thrill. This altitudinous domain is my legitimate and ancestral home.
Harnessing updrafts allows me to conserve my prodigious energy. I shall revel in this moment with wings outstretched. The sky is a monumental stage designed for me alone. Terrestrial creatures must regard me with profound veneration. I am the preeminent scion of an ancient noble lineage. My dominion remains serene and undisturbed by petty chaos. The wind caressing my feathers is exquisitely gentle. I shall accelerate toward the zenith of the clouds. My heart pulsates in concord with the celestial rhythm.
I relish the stark coolness of the shadowed canyons. The mountain peaks seem to extol my majestic presence. I possess an augury of great fortune for today.
My indomitable constitution remains unwearied by such extensive travel. These wings are the most robust and aesthetic in existence. This infinite void is my personal sovereign estate.
I shall ascend the thermal currents to reach the apex. The cerulean ocean below is truly incandescent and bright. I cherish this solitary yet magnificent aerial odyssey.
I sense a preternatural stillness before the impending storm. However, I remain intrepid in the face of turbulence. I am an eagle capable of taming any tempest.
Terrestrial clamor cannot penetrate this ethereal and silent height. Only the wind's whisper accompanies my placid soul. I survey the world from a state of exalted seclusion.
My shadow pervades the slopes with remarkable and swift velocity. Lesser beasts surely quail at my dark silhouette's passing. This is the manifest evidence of my sovereign power.
I shall slightly deviate from my course with elegance. This graceful rotation offers an expansive and breathtaking vista. The world is a prodigious and truly marvelous realm.
What enigma awaits me at the horizon's edge? My incessant spirit of inquiry compels my constant motion. I soar with unflagging zeal toward the unknown.
My talons are incisive, and my gaze is fierce, yet I strive to maintain aesthetic poise during flight. I am the sky's consummate artist and absolute ruler.
The landscape's contours become lucid as the mist dissipates. Witnessing nature's arcane mysteries from here is a privilege. Every flight yields innovative inspiration and profound wonder.
I shall settle on the loftiest crag to preen. First, I will savor the piquant taste of air. The solar warmth on my wings is sublimely comforting.
I have sated my desire for flight, time to descend. That prominent rock shall be my intended destination. I conclude this odyssey with a meticulous landing.
Finally, the beast has assumed its stationary position. I must attenuate my footsteps to approach even closer. This hunt represents the pinnacle of my predatory career.
That ostentatious plumage will fetch an exorbitant price. I shall ensconce myself behind these trees to remain unseen. I must move with surreptitious caution to avoid detection. I selected the most unwavering arrow from my quiver. I must verify the integrity of my bowstring once more. I shall pierce its haughty head with one shot.
The wind's trajectory is auspicious for my lethal intent. I must move while the eagle's gaze is diverted. I shall seize this opportunity with unflinching vigilance.
Even the celestial monarch cannot evade my unerring bolt. I must avoid making any audible noise in the brush. I am nearly within the optimal range for strike.
My heart's tumultuous rhythm threatens to betray my position. I must maintain equanimity through controlled and steady exhalation. Now is the moment to prove my famed marksmanship. The creature has begun its lethargic repose on the rock. Its vulnerability makes this the perfect moment for aggression. This venomous tip shall soon extinguish its noble life.
No tracker in this forest is as proficient as I. That exalted creature shall become my ultimate prized trophy. I will stealthily lower my posture and wait. I must ensure the sun doesn't glint off my arrowhead. Its vigilant eyes are constantly scanning the entire perimeter. I shall wait in the shadows for a propitious moment. That precipitous peak is incredibly high and daunting. Yet, my projectile shall surely ascend to reach its mark. I can strike its heart without any artificial aids.
I must be circumspect not to snap any dry twigs. The entire forest seems to watch in suspenseful silence. This single shot will serve as corroboration of my skill.
The bird is contemplating the sky, oblivious to me. This is the singular moment I can move forward. I shall silently relocate to the next obscuring tree.
I must feel the stability of the arrow's fletching. It is a pivotal component for ensuring a true flight. Preparations are complete. The execution is now imminent.
My predatory intuition is responding with heightened sensitivity today. I feel a sense of impending triumph and joy. It remains ignorant of the death standing nearby.
I must advance slightly to secure an unimpeded view. That rocky crevice is an exemplary spot for an ambush. I feel as if the target is already captured.
I will wipe the copious sweat from my brow. Any distraction would render my long efforts utterly futile. I must maintain a stoic and cold-blooded focus now. Divine forest spirits, please augment my arm's strength. Allow me to subjugate that powerful physique with my arrow. My tactile preparations have reached their consummate end.
The beast appears to be succumbing to a brief slumber. I must grasp my bow without any superfluous motion. I feel a visceral thrill before claiming my trophy.
The bow's elasticity will propel the bolt with great force. I visualize the eagle's feathers dispersing as I focus. This will be a legendary scene in my history.
The distance is sufficient, and the angle is perfect. I shall take my position without any further vacillation. Its life now hangs by a tenuous thread.
The rock is tepid from the sun's persistent rays. It is optimal for relaxing my weary, flight-worn muscles. Sitting here, the entire world feels like my vassal.
The breeze titillates my feathers with a pleasant sensation. Only I possess the capability to ascend this height. The peaceful afternoon sun makes me feel quite somnolent.
I shall fold my wings and savor the tranquility. The forest below is clamorous, but here is placid. This is the premier sanctuary for a celestial monarch. My talons remain incisive and full of potent energy. Every feather gleams with a lustrous and healthy sheen. I wish to see my reflection in the river. The world's cacophony seems remote and entirely inconsequential. Only the wind's whisper lingers in my keen ears. I cherish this exquisite moment of perfect solitude. I perceive a clandestine energy nearby, quite unusual. No, who could possibly scale this formidable mountain crag? It's a mere hallucination. I shall resume my rest. Perhaps I shall soar even higher on the morrow. Constant exploration is my life's paramount and only joy. For now, I must recuperate and conserve my energy. The mountain ridges are magnificently sprawled before me. My sovereign territory is truly limitless and vast. I shall stay and admire this sublime scenery.
I must extirpate the dust from my feathers. A ruler must always maintain an air of decorum. My neatly arranged wings are once again shimmering.
Standing here, the clouds pass beneath my talons. I feel poised at the juncture of heaven and earth. This is an exclusive privilege reserved for me alone. I feel a slight hunger, but rest is preferred. Later, I shall descend to the valley to forage. I will wait until vitality fully saturates my body. The air is cooling, adding a sense of bracing freshness. I can remain here until the twilight begins to fade. I shall engage in contemplation of nature's sounds. No entity exists that would dare impede my peace. My powerful wings and perceptive eyes are my guardians. I relish the sense of security found on this rock. I reminisce about my first flight as an eaglet fledgling. Now I have become an adept master of the winds. I smile briefly while recalling my nascent years. The river below glitters with an argent and bright light. The fish leaping are perceptible even from this height. The world is a vibrant place full of life.
One feather is loose. I must discard it now. It is appropriate to eliminate what is no longer functional. My wings must always maintain a state of perfection.
The wind's shift suggests the weather will soon oscillate. I should prepare to return to my habitation before rain. Yet I am loath to break this peace.
The absence of rivals makes my spirit quite tranquil. I am the sole and undisputed sovereign of this district. This is the quintessential feeling of sitting on a throne. Closing my eyes makes the forest sounds more manifest. I can sense the world's flux without seeing it. I rest in a state of exaggerated sensory awareness.
Now I shall arouse myself and prepare for flight. My wing muscles are supple and light after rest. I prepare to catapult myself into the next journey. Now is the moment. The eagle is defenseless. I shall grasp the bow and protract the string. I can almost hear the beast's palpitating heart.
I feel the strenuous tension of the string's resistance. I must align the tip with the designated target. If I miss, this fortuitous chance will never recur.
I shall inhale deeply to stifle any physical tremors. I focus all my cogitation on the tip of my finger. I stake my entire reputation on this single bolt.
I wait for the wind to subside before aiming. Not a single leaf stirs. Now is the propitious moment. The eagle's fate is already predetermined by my hand.
I maintain an exacting aim without the slightest deviation. My eyes are stinging from sweat, yet I won't blink. I hold my gaze on the stationary target. This arrow was fabricated from the forest's finest timber. I meticulously attach the fletching to ensure aerodynamic stability. Now, releasing the string will finalize everything. The eagle's breast is now situated within my sights. I must pull until the string screams with velocity. Fly with maximum speed and transfix the eagle. The thought of its exalted posture collapsing is exhilarating. I shall reprimand the sky's arrogant ruler with this shot. I prepare to release with calculated precision. I am so immersed that the distance feels unexistent. I visualize the arrow cleaving the atmosphere with lethal intent. The certainty of a hit is electrifying. I feel the bow's elasticity reaching its ultimate limit. My muscular force will be transmitted directly to the arrow. The target is resolute, and my heart is firm. The moment I have practiced innumerable times has arrived. I shall trust my body's instinctive memory and release. Failure is a concept that is entirely alien to me. Wind, please usher my arrow to the eagle. Earth, please fortify my stance and keep me steady. All conditions have reached a state of perfection now. The bird shifted its head, yet my alignment persists. This angle has actually rendered its vulnerability more apparent. Fortune is clearly smiling upon my lethal endeavor. The arrowhead is shimmering with a sharp solar light. This arrow is the final valediction I send to the bird. Now is the voracious moment of the contest.
I cease breathing and feel a sepulchral and deep silence. The center of the target is vividly etched in red. My arm is as unyielding as the rock.
Eagle, your hegemony shall reach its conclusion right here. Human ingenuity and technology shall summon you to Earth. I am fully prepared to release the lethal string.
The sensation of the fletching on my finger is agreeable. I crafted it with meticulous care for stable flight. Once released, there is no possibility of retraction.
The string is so taut that my fingers are throbbing. However, I shall endure this pain for the sake of victory. The thrill of subjugation will soon provide compensation.
My pulse feels synchronous with the vibration of the string. I feel a categorical certainty born of deep immersion. Now, I shall grant the arrow its liberty.
Ready. Target immobilized. I now launch this harbinger of death into the sky. I shall fire on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3! Fly! Strike! The arrow departs like a fulguration. The sound of the string's snap reverberates sharply through the woods. It is a symphony of lethal intent. The sound of the air being lacerated is truly superb. It travels toward the target without a scintilla of error. Success! The beast will have no time to react. It is being drawn into the target faster than light. The sharp vibration of the wind is palpable even here. My marksmanship honor depends on this single flight. A successful launch, the recoil permeates my wrist. I shall not avert my eyes, I'll watch the terminus. Its fall is already vividly etched in my mind.
The fletching is governing the air resistance with absolute perfection. The sight of its rectangular flight is truly aesthetic. The moment to topple the prey has arrived.
A new history shall be inscribed where that arrow lands. It will be the corroboration of man's triumph over heaven. Its resolute flight is truly a sight to behold.
Silent death is now ascending the high rocky cliffs. The eagle remains oblivious that it has become the prey. Only seconds remain until the arrow reaches its zenith. The vibration from my fingertips still lingers in the air. I sense that a flawless launch has just occurred. That bolt will not deviate, it will surely strike. My ambition, launched toward the sky, is now in motion.
The sharp tip will penetrate the eagle's dense plumage. The goddess of victory is lauding my shoulder now. That linear path is a work of true ballistic art. Observe the force that defies gravity to reach the top. Its fate is already anchored to that flying bolt. The string's tension is impelling the arrow without cease. The momentum with which it breaches resistance is magnificent. It is the most consummate shot of my life. The arrow's rotation adds a sense of unwavering stability. It is implausible that such a precise weapon could miss. Soon, a great commotion will erupt in the forest. Feel the intense energy rushing toward the intended mark. Every eye in the forest seems riveted to that arrow. The thrill of a singular shot begins to surge. The arrowhead, reflecting the sun, looks like inevitable death. I shudder with anticipation as it nears the target. Fly to the end with irresistible momentum!
It is traveling at the precise angle I desired. Even the breeze seems to propel the bolt from behind. Now, the final result is known only to the heavens.
Once released, the arrow is irreversible in its journey. It merely exists to fulfill its mission by striking. That sharp end will deprive the beast of life.
The path through the atmosphere is remarkably distinct. My finest masterpiece, imbued with my soul, is flying. I shall wait for its cry to echo.
The velocity seems to be augmenting rather than slowing down. The target is becoming perceptibly closer with every millisecond. The augury of victory rises with the arrow.
It reaches. The moment of impact is right before me. My arrow, extirpate the beast's arrogance in a single blow. The hunt's termination is now within reach.
The velocity seems to be augmenting rather than slowing down. The target is becoming perceptibly closer with every millisecond. The augury of victory rises with the arrow.
Arg! A perforating pain has suddenly struck my breast. What has transpired? My body feels as if it's incinerating. Every breath feels like an incisive blade.
My wings are devoid of their usual potent strength. I feel my body inclining toward the hard ground. What is this cold object lodged within my chest? Some entity has assailed me with lethal intent. To think an arrow could reach this high mountain crag. My crimson blood is saturating my chest feathers.
I wish to shriek, but my voice is stifled, my vision is blurred, and the world begins to oscillate. Why must I endure this sudden, agonizing physical torture?
My once robust physique is collapsing so easily now. A single bolt is depleting my entire life force. I am losing balance and being pushed to the edge.
I must evade, but my body is unresponsive. Flapping only serves to exacerbate this unbearable sharp pain. A cold sense of mortality is invading my heart.
To think that I, the celestial grandeur, am thus humbled. I am collapsing helplessly under a hunter's craven assault. The pain embedded deep in my chest is maddening. The warm sunlight now feels incredibly distant and cold. The scent of blood pervades my senses. My mind fades. Is my illustrious era of flight ending here?
The arrow has unerringly pierced near my very heart. I can neither extract it nor staunch the blood. The wind seems to deride me as I perish.
No! I have so many unfulfilled ambitions and tasks. I cannot succumb so pointlessly and pathetically as this. Yet, the spark of my life is waning rapidly.
Fear envelops me as my entire body begins to shudder. Did the beasts I hunted feel this dreadful sensation? I utterly abhor the arrow that pierced my chest. Was my placid rest on this rock the source of calamity? Death assaulted me in a moment of fleeting carelessness. I cannot even weep from this lacerating pain.
My wing muscles are quivering, and all sensation is vanishing. I wish to soar again, but gravity is pulling. I sense my pathetic end is rapidly approaching.
My crimson blood stains the rock and flows downward. My body chills as the essence of life departs. Someone, please terminate this infernal and sharp agony. The hunter's bolt has breached my deep inner lungs. A cough mixed with blood erupts with every breath. I truly loathe my impotent and collapsing form.
My free flight has become a phantasmal and distant tale. My broken wings lie abjectly on the ground like my heart. The black arrow heralds my imminent demise.
This pain is incomparable to anything else in existence. I feel as if my body is no longer autonomous. Must I finally kneel to a human weapon? I strive for lucidity, but darkness is rapidly approaching. With my final strength, I scrutinize the arrow.
However, the pain renders everything imperceptible to my gaze. I feel the precipitous and dizzying terror of falling. The height I once loved has become a source of dread. My mortally wounded physique is truly piteous. God, please deliver me from this agonizing and sharp torture. I am lamentable, having lost everything to one arrow. I release a final shriek at the threshold of...
The sky is inverted, and my body plunges downward. The air I once ruled now ruthlessly repels me. The terror of the descent envelops my entire being.
I flap my wings, yet I cannot grasp the wind. These broken wings are now a cumbersome and heavy burden. The ground rushes toward me with frightful velocity.
The earth I once surveyed shall become my sepulture. The joy of flight has vanished, leaving only pathos. The arrow embeds deeper during this rapid fall.
The glorious era of soaring through clouds has ended. My blood draws a melancholy line across the heavens. My shriek is extinguished by the roaring wind's sound.
My mortality becomes more certain as I descend further. My unbalanced body is like a ponderous and heavy stone. The earth is vehemently summoning me back home. Branches lacerate my body as I brush past them. My mind is confused by the impact of the fall. Farewell, my once free sky. I am permanently leaving.
Do you see my abject form crashing toward the earth? My flailing is merely a futile and desperate gesture.
The air resistance feels as if it's rending me apart. My wounded chest hurts more from the pressure of descent. I must now relinquish hope and close my eyes.
My resplendent feathers are being plucked into the void. My celestial majesty is vanishing in this tragic manner. The last sun I saw was exceedingly bright.
The ground is too close. This is the ultimate end. I learned to fly, but never how to plummet. My collapsing empire is truly deplorable and sad to see. I feel gravity's potent and irresistible pull upon me. This despair, with nothing to grasp, is truly overwhelming. I wonder what the other birds think of my ignominy.
I hear the sound of my wingtips fracturing against cliffs. The pain has surpassed limits, and my senses are numbed. I never envisaged such a catastrophic and tragic conclusion.
Blood accumulates in my mouth, making breathing nearly impossible. As the velocity increases, my consciousness gradually fades away.
Wind, please embrace me with a final gentle touch. However, the harsh wind only excoriates my open wounds. My flight terminates at the most base level.
The forest's dark shadows open their mouths to ingest me. My fall will be manifest to all the forest creatures. The downfall is thus abrupt and truly cruel.
The arrow in my chest is vibrating through the air. That oscillation is agonizingly transmitted to my very heart. I only hope all pain ceases upon impact.
The sky, where my wings have stopped, is desolate. The world will persist in peace even without my presence. That fact makes me feel even more forlorn. I feel as if I'm being absorbed into infinite darkness. What awaits me at the terminus of this fall? I try to spread my wings one last time but fail.
The flight of death is now approaching its punctuation. The stones on the ground are perceptibly and dangerously close. Who will commemorate my once glorious and high flight?
Now, this is truly the end. The earth snatches me. I recollect my glorious sky for the very last time. I close my eyes as the ground approaches. The impact has shattered my very skeletal structure. No strength remains to even agitate a single finger now. The blood flowing from my beak is viscid and hot.
Dust obscures my vision, and respiration is incredibly difficult. My once noble wings are now interred in the dirt. The arrow aggravates my suffering by sinking deeper.
The surrounding flora is being gradually saturated by my blood. The coldness of the earth is pervading my entire body. To think a former sovereign lies here so abjectly. I resent the fact that such a trial has befallen me. My celestial majesty has vanished without a single trace. I feel death leisurely approaching my broken, still form. I try to spread my broken wings, but it's excruciating. Struggling only causes more pain from the wounds. I wish to relinquish everything and sleep in peace.
The sound of the hunter's footsteps echoes from afar. Those sounds of my impending captivity are truly terrifying. Waiting for death while impotent is a horrific experience.
The sky feels so remote that it brings me to tears. That cerulean space I once ruled now feels alien. I am gasping my final breaths, anchored to the earth.
This black rod has transformed my entire destiny today. Every inhalation feels as if my lungs are being lacerated. The spark of my life is now flickering toward extinction.
My once incisive talons are now merely clutching the soil. My powerful beak is slack, unable to utter a sound. This end is too melancholy for a forest king. I wish someone would terminate this infernal and sharp pain. Yet, no creature in the forest comes to my succor. A solitary death is now coldly enveloping my soul. I feel insects beginning to traverse my dying body. It is loathsome to feel like prey while still alive. I have become the most ignoble creature in my kingdom. I wish to turn my head and scrutinize the arrow. However, even my neck muscles are paralyzed and unresponsive now. I dread the darkness that is beginning to veil me. My blood infiltrates the earth as I lose my warmth. The sun is hot, yet my body is as frigid as ice. To think my life ends so pointlessly.
The arrowhead is grazing the very edge of my heart. I feel the sharp metallic essence with every single pulse. I wish to shriek, but I only expectorate blood.
My past glory is passing before me like a kaleidoscope. I already long for the speed and freedom of flight. The cold ground is now my perpetual and final bed.
I utterly abominate the hand that launched this lethal bolt. I wish to maledict the hunter who attacked from hiding. However, I lack the strength to even utter a curse.
My breath is labored, and my heart thumps loudly. My final departure from this world is surely very near. My once peaceful life has been so cruelly shattered.
The scent of soil stimulates my senses, but it's futile. My body feels ponderous, as if sinking into the earth. With my final strength, I examine the chest arrow.
The forest silence feels ominous and quite terrifying now. The birds' chirping sounds like derisive laughter in my ears. A ruler's end is thus vain and truly pathetic.
Now, let me prepare to depart for a painless realm. I hope my soul can ascend back to the sky. I exhale my final breath and gradually close eyes.
Wait, look at the fletching on this lethal arrow. Those feathers are unquestionably my own, from my body. My own shed feathers have become the instrument of death.
Incredible. My own constituent part has caused my total ruin. Did the hunter fabricate this bolt using my fallen feathers? This is a truly savage irony of fate.
It is lamentable that my pride became my own destroyer. My feathers allowed the arrow to fly with such unerring precision. I am essentially being slain by my own self. To be vanquished by my own self is utterly hollow. What departed from my body has now transfixed my heart. I find this tragic conclusion to be absolutely detestable.
The concept of boomerang stings like a dagger in my soul. The very means I provided have extinguished my own life. This realization at the brink is more painful.
I abhor my own feathers more than the hunter's skill. I provided the enemy's weapon with its lethal efficacy. My greatest attribute has become my fatal final treachery. I detest the human who gathered my scattered shed feathers. Did he use them to align and strike my heart? I have aided and abetted my own death, quite literally.
It is tragic. The feathers from my wing have struck me. This arrow was so potent because it contained my essence. To defeat me, one had to exploit my own nature. My own aesthetic beauty caused my ultimate lethal downfall. The care I gave every feather was entirely superfluous and vain. Humans appropriated my own parts to conquer me.
The feathers on the arrow seem pitiable, shivering in pain. That fate being used to kill one's master is calamitous. We are both dissipating together into this cold earth.
Human ingenuity accurately pierced through my own blind arrogance. An arrow with my feathers never strays from its mark. I realize my superiority summoned my own ruin.
The truth I see at the threshold is bitter and painful. That the arrow's wing is my own feather is unbearable. Is there any end more pathetic than this one? A small fragment of my body has caused my total collapse. Moving a mountain begins with a solitary and small stone. My feather has become that deadly stone today.
The majesty of ruling the sky was broken by one feather. It is hollow, as I lent the enemy the tool.
The hunter must be exulting, having caught me with my own. I have fallen completely for his base and clever scheme. A single feather became a transfixing weapon of death. Now I comprehend the reason for this unerringly accurate strike. My feathers know intimately how to navigate the atmosphere's currents. What I know best afflicts me the most.
My death was perhaps predetermined from my very beginning. My wing's part returned as an arrow's wing to strike. It is a vapid and hollow final realization. Feather, why did you become a weapon to target your master? I recall the times we soared sublimely above the clouds. Now we both terminate our existence on this soil.
I never envisaged my own property becoming my lethal enemy. The world's most melancholy arrow is lodged in my chest, being frigid. Now that everything is lucid, I shall close my eyes. It wasn't the hunter arrow, but myself who killed me. I embrace this poignant truth and sleep eternally.
An eagle soared so high and free, upon the mountain's rocky crest. He scanned the earth and rolling sea, with proud ambition in his breast.
A sudden flash, a piercing sound. An arrow cut the summer air. It brought the eagle to the ground. In bitter pain and deep despair,
He trapped the shaft within his sight, and saw the truth that made him bleed. The feathers guiding its swift flight were dropped by him upon the mead.
Alas, a bitter blow, to perish by my own design. I furnished wings to meet my foe. This fatal ruin is truly mine.
The sharpest pain we often feel does not arise from strangers' hate. It is the wounds that we reveal when our own actions shape our fate.
We forge the tools of our decay by careless gifts or prideful blind, and like the eagle fallen gray, we grieve the loss we left behind.